Hello, 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 and welcome everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. My name is Matt, and I'm joined by the lovely Ryan and XR. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, guys and girls.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So, happy Tuesday, everybody. We hope everyone's strapped in, got their popcorn ready to go, and ready to hear a little bit about Ryan from Playside Studios. So, Ryan is a art expertise. Oh, seven. I don't know whatever you want to call it. Expert. I was going to go Sauvignon then, but Ryan has been working in the games industry for a fair few years now, and I believe has over 30 titles that you've worked on as well. Is that correct, Ryan?
Yes, it's somewhere around that number.
Starting to get to the number where you lose how many. So yes, and
I'm
Ryan
way
is,
past that point.
and Ryan of course is an alumni from AIE as well. So throughout tonight's live stream though, if any of our lovely guests do have questions for Ryan or for us, please feel free to pop them in chat. We're more than happy to answer them as we progress through the night. But other than that, I'll hand over to XR and you can take it away.
Thanks, Matt. And thank you once again, Ryan, for joining us this evening. I know you probably have a really busy schedule, but taking the time to talk to our current AIE students interested in pursuing what you do, as well as prospective students coming out of high school, trying to figure out what they want to do for that further higher education study as well. So, firstly, you are an art director at Playside. What
Yep.
do you do in your role as the art director?
A lot of things. I guess the main role I have as an art director at Playside is about facilitating a healthy art team, first and foremost. What an art director does varies a lot from studio to studio. Sometimes it's just the art director of one project, vision setting for the art team, and then they pass out that vision and let everyone execute. Um, and then you have roles more like mine where it's more management heavy, where I'm overseeing the artist across every art discipline within the studio, across every project that we have in the studio, and working with each lead for each art team and department, and how they run their teams, and facilitating all that and making sure that it's cohesive and then everyone's happy and are growing in their roles. Growth is a really big focus on mine, and when artists come in, regardless of whether they're junior, mid, or senior, making sure that they have growth opportunities within the company, and setting them up to be nurtured in that way.
Wow, that's awesome. It sounds like
Yeah.
your role has a lot of leadership skills. Is that something that came naturally to you over the years while you were studying as a student, or was it something you've always been passionate about?
I don't know. I think it's more it's more natural than anything.
Yep.
It comes from seeing how things might be done, or having ideas of how things can be done, and wanting to have my own spin on it, or contribute to it in
Yep.
a way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. And so, working at Playside Studios, what kind of projects have you worked on? Because some people might have no idea what Playside is, but they may know your projects that you have worked on.
Oh, a lot. Well, as I was saying earlier, over 30. So Playside was actually my first full time job coming out of the industry. Before that, it was freelance and contract work. So a lot of my games that I worked on are actually from Playside. But it varies all the way from small mobile titles to VR to AR, and most recently a bit of console stuff as well. I guess one to mention would be Age of Darkness, which is our most recent game that we've released. Last year it came out in early access, and we're currently working on the full release of the game. That's probably one of the largest that I've been able to work on. A couple of others would be Archangel Hellfire in VR with Skydance. Another one would be The Walking Dead, which is also a VR game. I've worked on Jumanji, a mobile title, and a few other brands like World of Pets, the Bits franchise, AR Dragon, the Warfare games, Ninja Turtles, Cars, all sorts of things.
Wow, that's awesome. And I think people hearing these titles, they're like, these are the games I've played, during my childhood or during my school time. Was there any games that was your favorite that really inspired you to pursue a career in the games industry?
I actually started off wanting to go into film. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, I mean, games that inspired me, you got the classics like Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, World of Warcraft, League of Legends, um, a lot of Blizzard, I would say, inspired me for games specifically.
Yeah.
I was very big into my competitive games, but when I actually started studying art, it wasn't necessarily about making games. It was about being an artist, and
Yeah.
finding a way to make art in a career. So that started off with film, and that was inspired by Kung Fu Panda, the original one.
Love that. Yep.
All the Pixar and DreamWorks style animations. But
Yep.
yeah, going into AIE, I don't know if it's still the same, but back then the first year was both film and games. It wasn't split. I don't know if it's changed now, but you kind of go into it. It's like a screen and media thing,
Yeah.
and then second year you decide whether you go into games or film.
Yeah.
And yeah, at the end of my first year, I decided I wanted to do games instead because I enjoyed creating things that I could interact with.
Yeah. That's really interesting. That's really awesome. You kind of figured out your pathway along the way as well, because I assume a
Yeah,
lot of students do go into this being like, I need to know what I want to do straight out of year 12 study. But then, seeing yourself pursue even till the point of a leadership role, that is incredible. You never know where your pathway is going to take you as well.
yeah. The
Um,
thing there is that plan too far ahead. Really, is just
yeah,
you're passionate about.
yeah. Awesome. So I know you've spoken a little bit about your time at AIE. I'd love to find out more about what was it like to study at AIE? How did you find the experience? Our courses are a bit different now.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I mean, it was great. The big thing for me about AIE was the people.
yeah,
Going to AIE, a lot of the people who go to study there are very like-minded and have similar passions, especially around art. The teachers as well, and having the opportunity, I guess, to learn alongside so many people is kind of what pushed me forward. A lot of people in my year were very driven, and
yeah.
that kind of led to us pushing each other. And the teachers would give everyone a little push on the shoulder, but a lot of the motivation came from one another, and that camaraderie was really important there. AIE was great for introducing a lot of software, but the main thing is that there are people there to guide you in the direction you want to go, and answer those questions.
And that's awesome to hear. It's hearing it from you yourself, because especially me as an events officer in my role, when I'm talking to high school students and prospective students, hearing about your experience is so important during your time at AIE as well. All right. So my next question for you is, how did you land your role at Playside? I guess any advice you would give to current AIE students looking to pursue studio work in the game industry?
Yeah, I mean, I got lucky. it, it was a matter of right place, right time for me, I think.
Yeah.
I had a few friends who had started there already, and had been working there for a little while. And I was pretty active with networking. I'd go out for every industry drink event that happened. I guess rewinding a bit, I didn't actually get a job straight out of AIE. It was a good
Yeah.
year and a bit until I landed my job at Playside after graduating. And between that, I did a lot of freelance and contract work. But during that time, I was interacting with a lot of people in the networking event, meeting every artist I could, getting uh, folio feedback from as many of the art leads in all the different studios as I could, and the artists as well. If I found out that they were going to a private event, or I had a friend at a studio that would invite me to like an after work thing, I would be there. I'd go there all the time, and I just try to
Awesome.
make friends with as many people as possible. And getting a job was one part of it, but the other big thing was I was just happy to meet people that were passionate about the same things I was. And I guess that involvement kind of led to one day getting a tap on the shoulder and being asked like, hey, we've got a role opening up. How would you like to join in? And I said, yeah, that sounds great. And then can you start on Friday? I go, I can I'll see what I can do. And yeah, next thing I know, I've got a job that week. So that was really interesting.
Wow, that's incredible. Definitely timing, but you can see that you're a real people person, putting yourself out there and getting amongst the community, post graduating from AIE as well.
Yeah, and I think that was a big thing is a lot of people tend to stop after AIE, like you'll graduate, not get a job straight away, and then start looking for the next course or the next thing to do. But really, like, stick at it. You've learnt the basics of what you need to know to do what you need to do, and you just keep working on your folio and putting yourself out there is the biggest thing.
Awesome. Yeah, actually, that's awesome advice.
There's another thing I have to say there. Sorry.
Yes.
As now being someone in the position of hiring, when I go to the grad showcases for all the schools and different unis every year, and like we remember the folios. So if I see someone graduate and they have their folios at a certain level and they apply again 1 year later or whatever, and their folio hasn't changed, I know, like, we notice that stuff as well.
Yeah.
So that eagerness and constantly putting yourself out there is really, really important with looking for a job as well.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's an awesome tip and advice as well, what you're looking for. That was actually going to be my next question too, because as much as AIE students from high school want to study with us, we have an interview portfolio aspect to our application to make sure that the course is the right fit for students. But I guess let's think a little bit further on, for you as someone who recruits and onboards new, employees into your studio company, what do you look for in people?
The first thing's always folio. Your folio is always the biggest step. Resumes and cover letters are cool, but I don't actually read them until the portfolio has gotten through. So yeah, portfolio is king or queen. Both. It's great. You got to focus on that and put that as your main priority at all times. So having a really good portfolio, and with that, I guess I'm saying portfolio. What makes a good portfolio? A good portfolio is a portfolio that can demonstrate a key understanding of the art fundamentals. So, your understanding of lighting, color, shape. If you're able to convey those things in a folio, that instantly builds like that trust in someone like myself that you're going to be able to come in and understand the art requirements. Then second to that would be the technical knowledge. So like, can you make a nice looking low poly asset? Do you understand modern workflows with Substance Painter or Designer, putting your work in game engines, all that sort of stuff. But first and foremost is showing off a key understanding of the art fundamentals. Then after that, went into interview stage, presenting yourself nicely is always really important. It's okay to be nervous. Usually being nervous doesn't get in the way of you getting a job. We work in games. Everyone's a little bit awkward, so that's okay. But, presenting yourself in a respectable and professional way is always really important. At the end of the day, you got to make sure that the people you're talking to are someone that presenting yourself in a way that I would want to work with you. It's not just about like, you're coming to work under me, but I want to work alongside everyone that we hire. So that's really important as well. So, not having stains on your shirts, or if you're on a Zoom call, make sure your bedroom's clean, whatever, all that stuff does matter. And being honest with your answers. Don't try to pretend to know things. It's okay if you don't understand everything. You're a graduate, you're a junior, you don't know everything, and we already like your folio, so it's clear that there's promise in your work, so you don't need to pretend to know everything. Aside from that, that's really it. Be honest and have a good folio.
Awesome. I definitely think people would definitely take this advice on board, especially, for someone like you, Ryan, who sees this sort of portfolio and interview a lot of people over your time working at Playside as well. Those are pretty much the main questions I have for you. Just wanting to turn back to Matt, if you want to show some of the work Ryan has done, just in case some of our audience hasn't seen. Is it familiar about Playside or the work they've done? So this is these screenshots are from which game, if you want to repeat, Ryan?
Oh, this is from Age of Darkness. So this is our, I guess, debut PC title. Yep. So Playside as a company is moving more towards a PC console space, which is really exciting because we've been known for mobile games forever. So yeah, this is our first game into that space, and it's done really well. Currently in early access, we're working on that full release. The full release will include both multiplayer and a campaign. So that's all really exciting at the moment. And it's just a taste of the quality that we're going to be bringing forward as a studio going forward.
Yeah, that's awesome. And also noting that you do hire a lot of AIE alumni that has worked on this piece as well. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So actually, the game started with myself and Jerry, the CEO, kind of talking about what kind of game we want to make going into PC, which is really cool to have that experience and freedom to help decide what kind of game we make. And then a lot of the team, even design, engineering, and art were all AIE alumni, or there's someone at least from every discipline representing AIE, which is really cool. Especially on the art team, a lot of AIE alumni are from AIE. Just a lot of us studied together, or the work ethic is taught the same way, which is really cool.
Awesome. That's all from me. Matt, did you have anyone in the audience that had any questions for us?
There we go. Just got to turn on my microphone. No, we didn't have any audio questions from the viewers watching out there, but I actually have a couple questions myself for you, Ryan, if that's okay, me being one of the audience members. And I do apologize, by the way, if there's anyone watching out there and the lip syncing is a little bit out. The computer that I'm using is struggling for power, but running many programs at once here. But the question I had for you, Ryan, was students come to me when they're talking about their portfolio, and they sometimes get a bit confused in regards to, should it showcase a range of skills? Should it really just highlight what they're best at? Is more or is less more? Is more less? I guess what I'm asking is, when you're looking at hiring, are you more impressed with a shorter, smaller, but really polished portfolio, or somewhere in the mid-range? Or do you, and I doubt this is the case, but you love seeing 50 pieces that all maybe 40 of them aren't the best?
Wow, that's the worst. You've got to remember, and this is really important, that when people are hiring, we've got hundreds of applicants and only have a certain amount of time to make the decision. To move forward to the next stage. So you really have to capture someone's attention, I say, within 10 to 30 seconds. So how you do that's up to you. Obviously, the pieces that you have at the top should be your best. I always recommend less is more. Show your best, because your portfolio is only as strong as your weakest piece. But in saying that, with graduates, it is actually really cool to sometimes see a couple of older pieces that might be a year old or 6 months old, and seeing the improvement and the growth from that point. I don't always recommend it because it's not always conveyed that way, but there has been times where it has been. So if you're communicating that stuff, awesome. But at the end of the day, less is more. Your best pieces should be what you showcase. And with that, what kind of work should you show? Every studio is obviously hiring for different things. So pick the studios you want to work for, gear your folio towards them. But if you want to keep it more generalistic and keep yourself open to every opportunity, that's why I kind of say focus on the art fundamentals over anything else. Whether you make a realistic piece or a stylized piece, if you're conveying a good understanding of use of shape or lighting or color, that's going to come across to any studio. Playside and Sledgehammer, for example, will be competing for graduates all the time, because we kind of look more at the potential rather than what they currently are showing on your folio. Because, for example, if you make a gun, how much of your artistic skill are you showing in that gun? And then once you've done that, you're locking yourself off to studios that strictly do that hard surface, realistic art. Whereas if you kind of do whatever you like and are passionate about as an artist, but are conveying, core art fundamental skills, any studio will want you. If you've done stylized, I've seen people use stylized portfolios go get jobs at Sledgehammer, because at the end of the day, anyone can go make a realistic crate or barrel sort of thing. But understanding what makes that crate or barrel appealing, the shapes that you might use or the color choices you might use, that's the skills that we're looking for in artists, regardless of the studio.
Yeah. Okay. I was speaking with an artist a while ago, in a similar role to you, like helped, I think advised on the hiring, but wasn't like the main person.
Yeah.
And one thing that they said they love seeing in a portfolio, and this was their company, and I want to know if it's similar for Playside. They said that a lot of graduates make these fantastic creatures. They can make dragons, animal like beasts. Yeah, but they love seeing, and they really recommend artists to create like a human as well, or to create an animal. The reason that they say that you should have that is ratios. They want to see whether the artist actually can kind of model and put together like the right ratios. So let's take a dragon for instance, right? It's a mythological creature. You can be all out of proportions with ratios, but it looks fine because it's a mythological dragon. Whereas with a human, people are going to be able to see that a little bit more so, like if your ratios aren't correct.
Yeah.
Would you say that's also is a good piece of advice for people looking to build portfolios, or doesn't really matter as much?
I'd say that's pretty studio specific, because in that case they're looking for anatomy and like use of proportions. I think that's not the only way to see good use of proportions.
Yeah.
For me, it's the art fundamentals. We don't really hire juniors or graduates into specialist roles, so I'm not going to be judging a junior by their anatomy knowledge or anything like that. So if you have a character and it has good anatomy, that's like bonus points. That's awesome. But if you have a character and the anatomy's off, but the texturing's really good and the lighting's nice and your color choices are really good and you've done well with the presentation, and some of the forms and shapes are appealing and have good composition in terms of how they lead my eye around the piece. To me, that's going to stand out a lot more than like the type of art you've chosen to make. Just because I guess with Playside, there's no limit to the art styles we do. Like if you look at our website, you'll see stylized and realistic art. I've got a background where I focus more on realistic, but working in this environment, I've kind of have to step back and just focus more on the basics as an artist and create an art team that's very adaptable and can sort of shift into any style that they need to, because every decision we make artistically revolves around fundamental art knowledge.
Yeah, cool. And also the game that we were just looking at a little bit ago, Age of Darkness. I'm not gonna lie, I love games like that. So if I wanted to, hypothetically, purchase the game, where would I head?
You can go check that out on Steam.
On Steam,
so if you just type
cool.
in Age of Darkness into Steam, it should come up. It should come up pretty quickly.
Excellent. I may or may not be doing that at some point.
Good. Check it out.
Little plug.
Yeah, I love games in that style, and just that's my sort of thing. Awesome.
The goal for it is to be like the Dark Souls of RTS. If you're into that, check it out.
Anything RTS is my favorite. So awesome. Shooters I'm not very good at. Actually, I'll go one step further. I'm terrible. Absolutely terrible. But RTS, I've had many years playing them. So
awesome.
Awesome. All right, cool. So one final question then before we kind of get to the website and wrap the live stream up for us. Was there anything else that you wanted to mention to I don't know, fellow colleagues of yours, friends, future artists?
No, not specifically. There was one question that I got sent through that we didn't ask that I wanted to touch on that I think is really important. It was recommendations towards high school students trying to decide a pathway to their studies.
Yes.
So I want to touch on that because I see this a lot where people go into studying games without knowing what they want as an end result. And I just kind of want to throw a plug out there. Don't study games if you just like playing games. And the passion should be from like art first, because you sort of give up games a little bit to make them. So definitely like dabble in doing it a little bit of it yourself and making sure that it's something you want to do, because I just see so many people go through these courses and come out like very disinterested in all of it. So yeah, definitely taking that into consideration before you jump into it.
Yeah, there is a huge difference between playing games and making games. That's for sure. A huge difference. One is work. The other one.
Yes. Yeah. You'll never see them the same.
Yeah. No. That's an excellent piece of advice. Alrighty, so yeah, thank you so much, Ryan, for being with us tonight. We really do appreciate your time and effort, and as we've kind of talked about tonight, if anyone wants to check out some of the games from Playside Studios, the art's pretty fantastic, so head to their website or Steam as well. But I'll just quickly pull up our website here. So for anyone who is interested in learning more about game development, whether that be the art side, programming, design, or filmmaking, AIE specialise in games and film, head to our website. There's a lot of resources on here. All of our courses, whether it be the career course, so tertiary education, getting you ready for the industry, whether it be introductory courses, so any high school students out there, these are fantastic to pair with your studies. They give high school credits and are fantastic for you to develop that portfolio in as well. We've also got beginner courses and holiday courses, just a few days of fun, and can also serve as a really great present for anyone that's got a friend's birthday or a daughter's birthday coming up. Showcase, we've got the latest news up here as well. We've got events. We do have next month our open day coming up, which is one of our biggest events of the year. So come meet some teachers, meet our staff, play some of the student games. Although making games is different to playing games, to make games you do need to play games. So come play some of the student games and see what our campus is about. So you can go to the upcoming events here, click on it and register via the button there. And there's further information on interview portfolios, more events, galleries, view books, everything that you need. Or if you'd like, you can always ask us a question, so just get in touch. Or if you're sold, you can just click apply now and select the course you want. So reach out to us. We are very friendly and very helpful. And we're here to help as well and build the games and film community together. So that's everything from us tonight. Thank you so much, everybody, again, for tuning in and for whoever watches this after. But we hope to see you soon at another AIE event or tuning in for the next live stream. So thank you, everyone.
We actually have one quick thing, if I can chime in.
Yeah.
I also run an online art community called ArtQuest, which is a group of industry artists within the games and films industry in Australia and New Zealand.
Amazing.
If you just type in ArtQuest OCE into Google, you can find it and join the Discord. And in there, you'll get feedback from artists in the industry as well. To plug that one.
ArtQuest, sorry. Actually, what I'll do is I'll chuck this in.
ArtQuest OCE, or you can just type in ArtQuest.io.
ArtQuest OCE. All right, excellent. Yeah. Beautiful. All right, check it out. Excellent. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah.